Hello. Hi. I heard that it was your moon cycle. And this is such a sacred and special time. And I thought it'd be really nice to have a friend come and take care of you and pamper you while you go through your period of darkness. And not the dark in a negative way, but the dark that life comes out of, the dark that all life comes from. And while I pamper you, I also thought I could share some information about what the first peoples did as ritual for the menstrual cycle, what they thought it was, and to just give a little history of how so many things are now in existence because of the menstrual cycle. Most of this information that I'll be sharing comes from this book called Blood, Bread, and Roses by Judy Grant. How menstruation created the world. It's a really beautiful book where she talks about the first recorded tribes, the information that we have about ritual, how so many things that we use today are because of the menstrual cycle, from makeup to clothes to utensils to shoes to so many things are because of what the people thought of the menstrual cycle and what they felt it meant to bleed, that women could bleed specifically, and what they thought the bleeding brought to the women. And they did consider the menstrual cycle as a period of darkness, where the bleeding woman would retreat into a tent for a few different reasons, but one being that she would retreat into her darkness and go into herself and come out 7 days later with intelligence and information that was given to her by the moon and her connection to the moon. So I'm going to share some of the information from the book while I prepare you to go into your darkness. So first, I'm going to start with a tincture that I made. I have here a wild rose tincture. Rose can help with the cramps. Rose can help with the cramps. just take a few drops of this. There you go. That should start working soon. I also made you a cup of cacao. A cup of cacao. Cacao will also help with the cramping, but also open the heart and kind of warm you and allow you perhaps to go a little deeper into what you're feeling and to heal anything negative or painful that you might be feeling. The cacao will help you. I'll leave that by you to keep drinking. Some of the first recorded peoples believed that if blood touched the ground or the water, that both would be poisoned or that they would have bad luck with the water and the land. So when a person was bleeding, some tribes would hang them in a tree. One, to keep them from bleeding on the ground, but also to keep them safe from the animals, because the animals would smell the blood. So to keep the villages safe, they would put a bleeding person in the trees. It's kind of crazy. But really, they had no idea, right? Imagine being the first person, the first people, and all of a sudden someone's bleeding. Only women are bleeding in this way. Why? Other tribes would put a bleeding person in a tent for the duration of 7 days or until they were done bleeding. And they would have other women from the tribe be with her to help her, to feed her, to give her water. And this was the need for shoes, because they didn't want the bleeding person to walk on the ground, because they thought it would curse the ground. So they made a cloth for the woman to walk on so that she could go out at night. The reason they only allowed the woman to go out at night was because some tribes believed that if a woman who was bleeding looked into the eyes of a man, she could kill him. And this is where it's believed that makeup was invented. A woman would put dark materials like clay or natural materials on her eyelids to darken her eyes so that the man would not look directly also, they believed that circles and jewelry was another way to protect the woman during this time where she was very sensitive. So they believed circles were a kind of protective shape, and so the earrings would be circles. So I have here for you this gold flower earring that I have. So I'm going to put these on you to protect you. There. They also believed that this might be where utensils were invented. That traditionally people would eat with their hands and cook, like gather food with their hands. But again, they believed that if a bleeding woman touched the food, that she would poison the food. I don't know. So they created separate utensils, like a spoon, for the women to eat out of, and bowls for the women to eat out of, so they had their own separate utensils. I have a soap that I want to give you that you can use to wash yourself during this time. I have two soaps actually. One, so I make soap, by the way. So I made one that I still have to cut. So it's not ready yet, but I'm gonna cut it soon, and then you can use it. It's still in the box, but this is the soap that I just made. And it's made out of a bouquet of flowers that I bought myself when I had a miscarriage. And what I believe is so beautiful about our cycle and about giving birth and being a birthing person and a bleeding person is that we are connected to cycles of life and death. Bleeding is a gift and a cleansing and a time for inner reflection. We all are creating peoples, even people who don't bleed create. But we all create in different ways and create different things. And I believe that our bleeding and our time of darkness connects us to information from the Mother Earth, information from all the elements. soaps represent that even though these flowers are from a seemingly sad time when I thought I was going to have a child and then I lost her, that beauty can come from this darkness, and beauty can come from everything, that life comes from death. Each flower sounds so different. It smells so good, smell. I know the flowers might be in the way. You have to smell around them. Here's another one I made. It's a similar theme. It's with just different flowers. Aren't they so pretty? So, a lot of these tribal people believed that. That's why it's called our moon cycle sometimes, because we are connected to the cycles of the moon and the phases of the moon. And isn't that so beautiful that everything is a cycle? Everything is a cycle. Everything starts at one point and ends and repeats. It starts and ends and repeats over and over and over. And in each cycle, there is a cleansing, there is a learning. We go through phases of light, like when the moon is full, and we go through phases of darkness, like when the moon is new. And as bleeding people, we experience that, just like the moon. So actually in Native American culture, in a lot of Native American tribes, the men would cut themselves to try and experience the cleansing that women experience. And they really honor the woman for bleeding, for giving birth, not that just through children, but all the ways that we give birth. So even if you are a bleeding person and you haven't had a child, you're not alone and you create so much beauty. Birth isn't just through the form of a child, though we can call our creations and the things that we birth children. They are extensions of us and the wisdom that we collect in the darkness. We collect wisdom in the dark. matrimony and about what marriage is. At the one wedding I have attended, when the flower girls appeared at the back of the church, and when the bride, gleaming white on her parents' arm, began her walk down the red carpet path, I did what I'm told women always do. I wept. We see her, the moon, walking on earth, and she is our eternity and our mortality, and we both adorn and mourn, adore and mourn. We see the groom's unease and his human courage to combine with the terrible mystery of life and death, his desire to conform to the restrictions of fidelity and paternity. We see his fragility and hers and their nobility. They stretch us backward and forward in time. We call the reason for our weeping her beauty. Remnants of ancient monarchical rites run through our formal wedding practices, for they are originally the same rite. The groom may not see the bride or her gown before the moment of her emergence at the wedding. She is kept hidden from him. She then arrives out of her seclusion, splendidly washed, combed, and dressed. When her new husband toasts her, he may break the wine glass after drinking, as utensils were broken in earlier blood rites. He has been invited into the monarchical pattern. He lifts the veil to kiss her, or he paints her face. He brings significant gifts. If he carries her across the threshold, it is because in ancient times she was forbidden to touch the ground. Hereafter, when they dress up to go out dancing, she will wear high heels that lift her off the ground, and he will feel both tender toward his vulnerability and uneasy at the sharpness of the spikes. Marriage displays the whole cosmogony of menstruation in one rite. The participants, who are not related to each other, demonstrate their comprehension of the essential metaphor, which will hold together regardless of the fate of this particular marriage. This is because a marriage represents more than a promise between two individuals. Rather, it ties together the two genders, as well as the two families, in shared understanding of one cosmogony, whose roots are menstrual, whose consummation is sexual, and whose purpose is cultural. She's like a poet. I love Judy Grant. It's also interesting because she talks about how a woman who is not adorned is not a woman who is looked at. Because back in these tribal times, a woman would mark when she was bleeding so that the community would know that she was able to have a child. Because before verbal communication was so important, we communicated with the physical, with the body, with the clothes. So women would adorn themselves perhaps with a tattoo that would mark that they were bleeding. Or she would wear some clothes that would mark that she was married, or how many children she had, or what hierarchy she was in the community. So it was clothes were so important, and this was kind of the point of clothes, was to tell the story of your life, to tell the story. I don't know why I said that like that. You're alive. Was to tell the story so that we didn't have to communicate so much with words, but we could communicate with clothes. When I went to Guatemala and I went to Lake Atitlan, there are still native people, the Sutuhel people, and they wear the most beautiful clothes that have sewed on them, like their children, their families, certain colors from the family they come from. It's really beautiful what clothes represent and what things can represent. So sometimes what I ask myself is, what am I communicating when I wear things? When I feel like I need to protect myself, I wear my circle earrings. When I'm bleeding, I tend to wear a long skirt and maybe darker clothes because I'm going through my darkness, and because it's a time when we are not fertile. I'm not trying to put out the message that I don't know, just you can get in touch with that for yourself. Like, what do you notice you wear during this time of the month? How are you feeling? Maybe you want to take a nap. I have another soap that I make with a mushroom called Amanita muscaria. You can see it on top. That's the mushroom. And Amanita muscaria can help with dreams. It can help you remember your dreams or have more, I don't want to say vivid, but like, what's the word? Informative. It brings the subconscious to the conscious, the unconscious to the conscious, so that in your period of darkness, you can bring back information with this soap. I've had people tell me that they don't even have to use it, just by smelling it before bed and setting an intention. They remember their dreams and they have very vivid dreams. But you can use this when you wash tonight and it'll help with your dreams. Give it a smell. Whoops. Okay. Good night, my dear. I hope you feel better, and let me know what you find in your darkness. And bring it back to us so